You ready for the perfect end of career mic drop? Aaron Rodgers just gave the world the kind of line that makes headlines and tugs at nostalgia at once. Whenever he finally hangs it up, he wants to do it as a Green Bay Packer. He said it straight. 18 seasons shaped his life. Green Bay made him who he is. And whatever drama came with his exit, it's all water under the bridge. That's not just a throwaway soundbite, it's a career thesis statement. ESPN.com. Think about how weird and beautiful that is. A quarterback who's been the face of one franchise for nearly 2 decades, 4 MVPs, a Super Bowl, a Hall of Fame resume, now running plays for the Steelers, telling reporters he'll retire a Packer. That line carries 2 feelings at once: gratitude and finality. He's closing a loop on a life that began and mostly lived in Wisconsin. It lands with extra gravity because this week he's actually facing the Packers for the first time since he left them. That night will read like a mini epic: present action versus past identity. Rodgers. So let's unpack what Rodgers' declaration really means for him, for the Packers, and for football theater. First, the human thing. Rodgers saying, "I'll retire a Packer," is him keeping control over the emotional ending of his story. Players who burn bridges sometimes get defined by their exits. Rodgers is refusing that. He's saying, all the winning nights, the community, the people who cheered me, that's my home. That matters. Retirement rituals are as much about the community as they are about the athlete. For Rodgers, a ceremonial return to Lambeau, whether it's a jersey retirement, a ring night, or a homecoming ceremony, isn't vanity. It's closure. And he's earned the right to script his goodbye. ESPN.com. Second, the optics. Rodgers left Green Bay under complicated circumstances, draft decisions, organizational shifts, the Jordan Love timeline, and then took his talents to New York and now Pittsburgh. For some fans, his departure felt like betrayal. For others, it was inevitable. By publicly rejecting revenge and emphasizing love, Rodgers rewires the narrative. Instead of a cliffhanger divorce, he's offering a reunion tour. It calms some of the heat, and it positions him as the elder statesman who wants the last word to be gratitude, not grievance. ESPN.com. Third, the practical reality. Rodgers is 41. Any discussion about legacy has to consider the body. He's still producing at a high level when healthy, but the clock is ticking. Saying he'll retire a Packer doesn't mean he'll rewear the green and gold in competitive snaps. It could simply mean a ceremonious farewell. Plenty of greats have done that. Finish somewhere else, but sign the homecoming letter once the curtain drops. It's sensible, emotional, and entirely within his rights. Fox News Now, let's zoom out and ask the bigger question. What does this signal about how modern NFL careers end? The answer, they end increasingly like movies, not like footnotes. Players manage brands, narratives, and legacies. The idea of retire with your original team is a brand exercise as much as it is a personal wish. For franchises, it's an opportunity to stitch together history and continuity. An icon returns, the community remembers, and the team's mythology grows. It's good PR, and frankly, it's good business. That Rodgers openly wants that for himself tells younger players something. Plan your exit as carefully as you plan your plays. NFL.com, let's not pretend there aren't stakes for the Packers either. For Green Bay, having Rodgers declare this is a soft landing for a complicated chapter. They can now frame the split not as drama, but as a narrative with a satisfying epilogue. For Jordan Love and the current roster, it's a chance to own the present without rewriting history. Make no mistake, Love's future is bright. Rodgers' sentiment doesn't change that. But it does smooth the seam between eras, which is priceless from a fan soul perspective. On the Steelers side, Rodgers has been a revelation, steady, schematically brilliant, and still dangerous. Facing his old team brings competitive fuel, but Rodgers insists it's not revenge. He's coming to see old teammates, to be on Sunday Night Football, and to play football. The soap opera angle is what sells tickets, but the guy on the field remains a grinder. Expect emotion, but expect professionalism. Rodgers. So how do you tell this story in an 8-minute video that feels intimate and not manufactured? Here's the emotional arc you want to ride. Start with the hook. Imagine the man who defined an era saying he'll hang it up wearing the colors that raised him. Drop the quote. Watch the reaction. Packers fans tear up, rivals smirk, and sports Twitter erupts. Move into the layers. Explain the history quickly. The MVPs, the Super Bowl, the draft that set things in motion, the tension when Jordan Love arrived. But keep it human. Show Rodgers gratitude. Use his own words about a lot of love for the organization to make the scene personal. Shift into the tension. The present moment is Rodgers in Steelers black, facing his old life on national TV. Talk about the theater, the first game back, the cameras, the handshake lines, the hugs, possibly awkward exchanges. This is the apex. What will he feel when he steps into Lambeau from the visiting tunnel? Will he get a standing ovation or a mixed chorus? That ambiguity is compelling. Deliver the insight, the twist. Retiring as a Packer is both legacy control and a brand play. It's sentimental, yes, but it's also modern athlete strategy. Rodgers knows how to shape perception. That's not cynical. It's part of his mastery. End with a micro moment. Envision Rodgers in the post-game locker room, older, reflective, telling a young player, do it right, make the good parts last. Then cut to a closing line that's sticky. Aaron Rodgers didn't just play for Green Bay, he grew up there. Saying he'll retire a Packer isn't a retreat. It's the last perfect, deliberate play of a masterful career. If you want the tight take to close the video, Aaron Rodgers may never play another meaningful snap in Lambeau, but he's saved himself the right to one last clean chapter. And that matters, because endings are how legends get remembered. Keep the cameras rolling. Imagine finishing the movie where it all began. That's Aaron Rodgers' plan. Whenever the final whistle blows, he wants to sign off as a Packer. Short sentence. Big feeling. Rodgers didn't wander into this sentiment because of nostalgia alone. He told reporters exactly why. 18 years in Green Bay, a Hall of Fame resume built there, a Super Bowl, 4 MVPs, memories and relationships that shaped his life. He didn't say it bitterly. He said it like a man closing a chapter with gratitude. They made me a ton of money, he shrugged. I grew up there. I have nothing but love for the organization. You can hear the weight of that, the wins, the rivalries, the winters at Lambeau, and how those ties don't simply evaporate because a contract ends. Let's be real. Rodgers' journey after Green Bay's split was messy. A Jets detour and now this one-year Pittsburgh fling. He's 41. He's played in other uniforms. He's admitted this season might be his last. But athletes have been doing this forever. Finish the daily grind somewhere else, then come home for the final bow. It's ceremonial, yes, but it's also human. Fans want closure. Players want a finish line that matches the distance they ran. Why does it matter? Because legacy is partly tape and partly ritual. Rodgers' best throws, biggest nights, and loudest moments belong to one place. Stat lines get boxed in record books, but a jersey retirement and a Hall of Fame night at Lambeau are how communities remember a player. And when Rodgers talks about Lambeau's hallowed ground, he's not luxating a memory. He's naming the stage where his life changed. He's saying he wants the ending of his story to be in the building that framed the first act. Also, this is not revenge theater. Rodgers made that point. He's not out to settle scores. He's realistic. He says he has a lot of love for the Packers and nothing to revenge. That line matters because it reframes what could be framed as petulance into something quieter, gratitude. That will soften the reception for many fans who still felt burned by the split. It won't erase criticisms, but it does give Rodgers the moral high ground when he shows up to say goodbye. There are practical wrinkles. Would Rodgers actually suit up for Green Bay again? Likely not. This is usually ceremonial. A retirement announcement, a return to town for a jersey retirement, Hall of Fame induction as a Packer. Those moments are logistics and optics, not a mid-career transfer. Also, Rodgers' future choices depend on one variable he keeps reminding us of, his own body and desire. He's hinted retirement might be near. If he changes his mind, so be it. If he doesn't, the Packers' window is ready. Then there's the cultural piece. NFL